Welcome to Wine Library TV. I'm your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, right here, it's the Thunder Show, aka WLTV. I want to welcome all the new Vaniacs because the numbers are exploding. You know, I never knew that I could have an affair on my wife with Google Analytics. I love you, Google Analytics. I love you too, Gary. We love each other, and it's fun to see all you new Vaniacs. I really appreciate it. The 1,400 personal emails from yesterday's crazy episode have completely humbled me, and I just want to say to the Vaniacs out there, I love you. Cabernet. You're here to watch a show, not hear me rant and rave about my affairs with websites. Cabernets. Very complex, very interesting. America's sweetheart. I find them to be the Julia Roberts of red wines, and they are absolutely an obsession. So many people that are watching right now have all gone through what I call the Cabernet haze phase. I like rhyming. The haze phase of Cabernet is so common, it is almost disgusting, especially in the late 1990s, where people not only drank Cabernet all the time, but every day, and only. Luckily, through things like WLTV and many other internet things out there and articles and, you know, people trying to change the world a little bit, people have started going outside of this box. But for a long, long time, Cabernet really dominated this nation's interest. So it's exciting for me to jump back into Cabernet today. I'm doing 4 very serious Cabernets. These are a little bit more pricey, a little tougher for the CKCs. College Kids crew, I love you guys. Keep Facebooking me up. It's a lot of fun. I want friends. And pass it to the other friends. I just want a billion friends. Can I pass that Tom guy on MySpace? You know, that's the goal, Mott. So they are pricey wines. These are special wines. These are expense account wines. You see these on the restaurant lists and your boss is paying for it. Whip out that card with pride. And it's obviously for the people that can afford it. These are very interesting wines. A little bit under the radar Cabernets. We've done the Opus ones and the Insignias and Mondavi Reserves, and we will continue. If you're looking for them, the reason I'm going to this segue is there's a search box up here. Please search any wine you want. The episodes pop up because I get a lot of emails. Hey Gary, you should try Camus. Did it. Hey Gary, try Opus. Did it. And a lot of more. So let's start right off the bat with probably the one that on paper might bring the biggest thunderbolt, because this is a QPR opportunity, quality price ratio. When I say QPR, this is the Chapella Signature Series 2004 Napa Valley Cabernet, 14.9% alcohol content, $39 US, 93 points, Wine Spectator. 39. I think Johnny Johnson wore that number. Classic Jets running back. Johnny, if you're watching, hit me up, baby. Okay, give it a little rinse. So let's get this party on the roll. And let's see what this has. I'm really excited about trying this wine, maybe more so than any of the other wines, and it's the first wine of the day, because again, 93 Spectator, $39. It's a great QPR. Now, this wine has no issue with dark color at all. Completely pitch black, beautiful color. Let's give it a little sniffy sniff and see what we think. Now I gotta tell you, I did bring out the Oak Monster t-shirt. Number one, because I can't believe he's outselling me 700 to 1. Mott, links underneath this video, link to my t-shirt and the Oak Monster t-shirt. Let's see if somebody can throw me a bone and buy one of mine so I can catch up. He's only 900 t-shirts ahead. But the Oak Monster's here for another reason, because California Cabernets tend to have that very present in their flavor. Now, what I'm liking about this off the bat is that there is oak integrated here, but it is subtle. There's also a beautiful vanilla component, dark cherry, cassis, and blackberry, all on the nose, and it's coming across intense. I mean, it's really like melting down candy. I love to use that term because I really understand that. Candy out of the package, you smell it, and it kind of smells like it because it's been a wrapper, what have you, in a warehouse, in a store shelf. But when you melt it down, you get the flavors. They really come through, and that's how I kind of look at it. Or like smelling raspberries or then turning into a jam. So that's how I'm excited about this on the nose, because it's coming through very seriously with that kind of real intense nose flavor. I love the bouquet. Let's give it a whirl. this is going to be a shockingly popular wine to the United States of America. It is completely dark, beautiful chocolate structure. Let's go with chocolate covered blueberries on this wine. A beautiful blueberry component coming on, almost like a blueberry chocolate vanilla mocha shake that you would buy from our friends at Starbucks that now have a location in every corner in the United States. This is an intense wine. It's got tremendous alcohol integration. It's a big, powerful wine. The overall structure is excellent. It's got some great silkiness to it. I'm a little bit concerned the alcohol is integrated beautifully. It is coming through right now. It's a young Cabernet that will settle down. It's obvious because the flavors are just kind of coming together. Kind of reminds me of a third grader, that's 6'3". You know that guy's gonna dunk. Probably can dunk now. So this is a very polished wine. This is the kind of wine. This is of the family of Caymus, Silver Oak, Jordan, Cake Bread. All the things that you're now watching, shaking your head, saying, yes, I like those. Yes, I've had those at dinners. This is of that cloth. This is a wine of that pedigree, of that quality, and in today's market, a good 20 to 60% less expensive than those wines. This wine has completely elevated itself in the last 5 years. It's been astonishing to me to watch the pedigree and quality of this wine grow every single year, whereas the 2004, which is a very nice vintage, extremely outclasses the 2001 version of this wine, which was a tremendous vintage. Spectator might have won a point or two high for me. I'm going to go 91 plus, but this is an exceptional bottle of Cabernet for $39. I do recommend it because Cabernet is priced differently, just the way it is. I mean, do I recommend the prices for a New York City, high rise? No, per square footage, but there's some different things going on. Kind of like this Cabernet. Cabs are just so much fun with dinner, and everybody likes it with a nice cigar. I went on a whole lot about that wine, but I was very, very impressed overall. Good wine. Let's move on. Salvestrin, Napa Valley, Estate Cabernet, 2003, $40 US. Now this wine has scored 94 points by the Wine Enthusiast, and we've got a whole lineup of Wine Enthusiast scored wines next. We don't talk about the Enthusiast a lot, but we have in the past, and I've told you that I actually think it's an underrated magazine. Again, people look at the points and they seem to be a little bit higher. They're a little bit more liberal, but so has Jay Miller been for Parker's Advocate. And I think Wine Enthusiast sometimes gets a bad rap. I like reading the magazine, and so some of their scores were kind of interesting. So I'm going to find out if that's the case here. Now you're talking about a winery I adore. I've been following Salvestrin for a long time, and so I'm real curious. I've not had the 03 Cab yet, and here's my chance. I'm going to share that thought with you. Again, no worries about color. I mean, this is a very dark Cabernet. Rarely should we have an issue with Cabernets with color. Let's give it a sniffy. This is much tighter. I'm getting concrete dust on this, which is quite obvious to me. I'm also getting a little floral arrangement going on here. I'm going to go with violets, concrete dust, chalk dust. A very dusty, almost like thin dirt dust clouds when, like somebody rips it up, like acting cool, like in junior high on their motorbike or something, and the smoke or like the dirt shoots up in the air and it's a little dirty, dusty, deserty. That's what I kind of get on this nose, mixed in again with a little hint of vanilla. Vanilla just always makes its presence felt in Cabernets, which is something I don't fault Cabernet for. I actually commend it. I appreciate it. So let's give it a whirl. The Oak Monster makes his appearance a little bit more here. Say it with me. It's making its effort here. It kind of grabbed your hand and you kind of got off and you ran. But where your palate's running on this wine is it's running in very different directions. It kind of reminds me of the Wild Toad ride in Disney World. I mean, this wine is bouncing all over the place. It's coming with some really polished blackcurrant, then it's dipping down to a very subtle rose petal aspect on the flavor profile. It's also got a little bit of a lighter body than I would have expected. It's not as intense. There is some silkiness, but I almost find it to be fake silkiness because that's overgobbed oak and vanilla component coming together. The structure is a little flabby as well. I'm not really feeling this wine, which is really tough because it's a winery I hold very dear to my heart because it was one of my discoveries back when I was like 21, looked 16. Everybody laughed at me until I handed them a bottle and then they believed. They believed in the Vaynerchuk. And so I'm going to go 87 points in this wine. there's just no way I can recommend this wine, and I'm going to have to give it a pass. This is really disappointing. Before I move on, I want to give a major shout out to Beach Rat. He knows why. And I want to get into something that, really kind of touched my heart. I want to share with the Vaniacs out here. We have a fellow Vaniac, guys, in Connecticut named Don Hess. He's a great guy and a long-time watcher, and I really appreciate it, Don. Don has fallen into a little bit of, health issues. So we want to really support him. I want to give him a massive, massive shout out. I hope all the Vaniacs, lurkers, you don't have to come out for me. Honestly, I've been asking you for years, but you don't have to come out for me. Jump in there and just wish Don some love. I think it would really help him, and he could use the boost right now. So Don, big shout out, big ups from me, and I hope we can, I'm not trying to use you on the lurkers, but you've been watching long enough to know how we feel about them. So hopefully they'll come out and wish you the best, and anything I can do, you can zap me anytime. So let's move on. That was kind of like a little halftime show. And let's talk about the Mount Veeder Cab. This is the 2003 Mount Veeder Reserve Napa red wine, but mainly Cabernet. There's a little component of some Bordeaux flavors. 94 points, Wine Enthusiast, $66 US. And so, it'd be really smart to buy a 6-pack of this at $66, because then you and the devil can hang out, and that'd be really rad. Let's give this a whirl. Really excited to see what this is all about. This is a winery that has a huge pedigree, and when I got into the business, started reading and really getting interested in the early 90s, it was a winery that had a lot of pedigree, big name value, and was really sought after. So, and even more into the 80s is when it really had its heyday. So it's been fun to kind of watch how this has evolved over time, and watching it, kind of become like what Wine Library TV is going to eventually become. Right now it's hot and everybody's talking about it, magazines are writing it up, and we're having fun, and there's tens of thousands of you now. But I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to start getting gray, and nobody's going to be watching. It's going to be sad. I'm going to be like, you with a little bit, and nobody, it's going to be like me with a little bit of me. Or, so it's going to be sad as my ratings start to decline, and I will drop a little bit of a tear. As long as you give me a hug, I think we can make it through. So let's give this a shot. This has tremendously interesting color. I'll tell you, Cabernets, I don't know why, but I cannot get Cabernets out of my mind when on the bouquet when I refer to them as coffee shops. Just the combination of the coffee, right here, straight coffee, vanilla, cocoa bean, and now with all the blackcurrant and raspberry and cherry flavors that these chocolate shops put in, they give you like a shot of like cherry juice, and you have to pay like $900 extra. It's just really become very obvious to me that Cabernet has become the coffee shop nose wine. So that's what I'm getting through here once again. Let's give it a whirl. So this wine is $66, and it's got an extreme. Where am I going with this? This is a major pass. It's extremely dry and austere. It's kind of completely unfocused flavor. Really, honestly, this tastes like $8 to $10 wine. I mean, I would pay $10 for this, and that's what I would expect to get. I'm pretty sure if you bought this wine, if you're really rolling on 28-inch rims and you can afford to, you should buy this wine, buy 5 to 7 Australian wine Cabernets at $10, brown bag them, and test all your friends. I guarantee this wine will not win. It's a pass. I'm going to go 83 points in this wine. I find it very flabby, one-dimensional flavor. I get cherry and oak, period. There's a dryness going on there that I really don't appreciate this wine. Okay, let's go with this now. Now this is the Cuda Fodra. This is the Cuda Fodra, and this is the 2004 Cabernet, and this wine is $105 US. There's a lot of buzz around this wine. One, because Steve Wynn from Vegas has I believe the money guy behind this. Danielle Price is who is the master sommelier at Wins, is involved with this project. John Schwartz, a real famous California guy, is involved with this project, and it's got an enormous amount of buzz. And it has a 98-point score from the Wine Enthusiast, one of the highest rated wines we've ever done on WLTV. So I'm super excited, super stoked to try this with you guys. I'm dying to see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on. So the color is just as good as the rest. Again, once again, that is not something we're so worried about. No question, hands down, the most intense, explosive nose of the bunch here. Beautiful chocolate-covered strawberries coming through, almost like a Grand Marnier orange peel liqueur aspect coming through as a second subtle flavor on the nose. I'm starting to get a little excited now. That wine brought me way down. We're going to go great adventure on the wine now. Hopefully we're going to go all the way up. Hopefully we'll stay there. I don't want to go back down. This nose is completely over the top. Very, very, cherry pie-esque on the nose. It's got a little, it's really walking the line of being fake and artificial, but it's not going there, and that is the perfect play. Do you know those things in life that are like, they look like they're fake and artificial, but they're not, and then you're like, wow, that's pretty impressive? That's kind of how this nose is coming through for me. Let's give it a whirl. So there's 12% Syrah in this wine, and if you're not familiar with the loosey-goosey California laws, American laws, you have to be 75% varietal to claim that varietal. So this is doing that because it's mainly Cabernet, but the Syrah is really bringing an amazing component to this wine. I've got to tell you, I've never thought this was going to be possible. I'm going to retaste this right now because something's going on that is shocking to me. So just give me one sec. So I've never had a wine from anywhere else in the world that tasted like chocolate more so than an Amarone. I've never had a wine that has topped the Amarones like the Massi, Busolo, Tomasi, older ones, and Quintarelli for that matter, that have given me so much chocolate, clear-cut chocolate. I've never had a wine top that in its chocolate definition. Even the Tanat we did a couple days ago, that was dark chocolate. I've never had the milk chocolate that I'm referring to. This wine, the Cuda Ridge, is absolutely, positively the most chocolate, milk chocolate-driven, candy bar, Heath bar, Baby Ruth, that style wine that I've ever had in my entire life. I cannot believe the obnoxiousness of the level of the chocolate that's coming through on this wine. And I'm not even sure what I think about that because it's so shocking. I mean, this is a chocolate bomb. It's got some fruit. There's clearly some raspberry syrup type flavors coming through in this wine. It is an absolutely interesting explosion of flavor. It's very silky smooth. This is a fruit bomb. Old world fans, you may not even want to leave the building. You may want to leave the state on this one because the flavors are so over the top, explosive. This is of the fame, the cloth, the pedigree of a cult wine from California. This is the kind of wine that will challenge people with the Harlans and the Bryants and the Peter Michaels and the Philip Tognis and all those wines. This is a very fruit-driven, extracted bottle of wine. Something that I think a lot of people would really, really like, and a wine that I think a lot of people would not like. Definitely an old world claret or Burgundy fan. So this is a very tough wine for me. I'm going to kind of walk the type, the type wire? No, the high wire. Kind of, got to have my stick. Thank you. And I'm going to go, 93 points on this wine. I like this wine. I think it's very good. And for what it does, it's absolutely fun. I almost think of it as the difference of a girlfriend and a wife. This is a girlfriend wine. It's good for what it is, but you may not want to marry this wine, if that makes sense. This wine is $105, so I would have to give it a pass overall, but it's darn close. And you know what? If you can afford it, I'd even say you should seek it out, because I can see a lot of people who drink the big stuff. Bryant's and all that stuff came as special selects. Schaefer's, all that fun stuff. Getting really enamored with this wine. It's very intriguing. I'm going to go 93 points, and that's where I'm at with this wine. Once again, huge thank yous for yesterday's episode. Not only did we get an obnoxious amount of comments, we got an enormous amount of digs. Hopefully, maybe somebody will dig today's episode. And an enormous amount of love. I really appreciate it. I really am glad that it hit home for people to say I love you and to kiss their family members. I hope everybody adopts that policy because it's the way to go. And really, it's pretty darn cool. And it kind of leads me into a very interesting and fun question for you, because that's what I do, question of the day. Question of the day is living or not living or dead. Who would you like to, tonight, if you could share a glass of wine with somebody, who would that person be of all time? Because you and a little bit of me. Oh, wow. We're changing the wine world.